resources, hashtag how I got custody. Just want to get on here, see if anybody has any issues they want to ask questions about. Sitting here in a parking lot getting my first meal of the day. One of the themes of this video is going to be, if you don't want to do anything, I can't help you. I get a lot of people who say, well, I wish you could represent me in court. That means that you don't care to do something yourself. Because everything that I know, when you guys see me talking or when you guys see me talking and let me see here, about things to do and how to do them. You know, the stuff I learned on my own, and I did it on my own, and I was in your position. So people can't seem to get that. I was in your position, totally lost, and somebody just like you who had no idea. You know, I didn't have any experience with the court system. I've been to small claims like one time, I think. But I was in the same position as you. So if somebody says, oh, I wish you could go and represent me, you're saying, I want you to do all the work for me. But it's your life, and it's your kid or kids, and you got to actually care enough about them to want to do something about this. If you're sitting there blowing off on me, then you're part of the 90% of guys that just want somebody else to do it. You want to pay an attorney to make it all go away and fix it. You know, this is a situation that you created. You had a kid with a crazy woman, just like I did. You had a you know, you had a kid with a crazy woman. You picked somebody that you knew was crazy. Or maybe you're an innocent victim and you got bamboozled. We all get bamboozled at least once in life. If you get bamboozled 2 or 3 times by a crazy baby mama who's withholding the kids from you, then you're just hopeless. I had a guy who worked with a decade ago, and I worked with him a decade ago, and he had 2 babies' moms fighting him at the same time. And I've told this one before, like, he was on the phone with me one time, and he was, I don't know, he was driving by the beach or something. He was like, damn, there's so many fly chicks down here, or so many beautiful women or something like that. I'm like, dude, can you control yourself, like, just for a minute while we're on the phone talking about your 2 babies' moms trying to take your kids away? Next thing you know, a decade later, he hits me up and says his 3rd baby's mom took off with the kids to the other side of the country. And I'm like, you need to act fast and drag her back into the state. He said he couldn't afford my help, so he waited 6 months, and now that state has jurisdiction. He wants me to help him go hunt down that baby's mom. I'm like, dude, it's too late. Go figure it out. You know, I'm not gonna help if you keep. Now, sometimes people wake up to reality and they're like, man, James was right. I really got to do this the right way. I'm going to do it. But that guy kept the same energy and has the same mentality. I'm going to clear up my screen here just for a second. He had the same energy, the same mentality, the same stupidity, and he wasn't going to learn any lessons. He wasn't going to change. I think I need to move my car too, because the sun is going directly into my phone and it feels hot. And this live will get interrupted, so I'm going to move. But, you know, if you don't want to truly fight on your own, even if you get an attorney, you still have to do stuff for the attorney. The attorney makes you do a lot of the work. You have to go get witnesses. You have to have your mom, dad, sister, cousin, brother, new girlfriend, new wife. You have to gather like a bunch of declarations or affidavits. You have to put together a lot of your case. You have to prep, you know, You have to go get screenshots of text. You're doing a bunch of paralegal work when you have an attorney anyway. So you have to do some of the work. So when I come along, you already, if you have an attorney and some of you have been doing most of the work, some of you have been doing most of the work for your attorney, and you're wondering what's the attorney doing? Because most of these attorneys are lazy and they suck. You already have to do some of the work. So why do you want to just blow it off on somebody and wish and hope that I could represent you or something? I'm not an attorney, so I can't do that. I wouldn't stoop that low to be part of their little club. Some people are like, why don't you go get a law degree and be part of their club? I don't want to be part of their club. Look at the videos that I did on YouTube. There's a section that says corrupt attorneys, judges, and lawyers. Or corrupt attorneys and judges, and maybe some other category. If you don't want help, I can't help you. I had a guy who asked me the other day, should I get a consult with you before I go to court or after? What kind of question is that? You're about to go to court and you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you're asking me if you should go to court not knowing what the hell you're doing or learn what to do. Like, who does that? Should I take my driving test before I take driver's ed or after? Should I study for the final exam before or after the final exam? I mean, some of you guys are in such emotional states and are so paralyzed by your fear that you've gotten delusional about reality. You start doing stuff that no rational person would do under any circumstance. Like I gave you the analogy of, do you get a consult with James and learn how to fight in court before you fight or after you fight? What kind of question is that? I told the guy, if you know 100% of everything that you need to know, go ahead. Dang it, I hate when this thing moves. Okay, sorry about that. If you know 100% of everything that you need to know, go ahead and go into court. If you don't, get some help. Should I hop on this motorcycle and ride it without getting any lessons or somebody showing me how to do it, without watching somebody ride a motorcycle, without knowing anything about the instruments? Come on, some of this stuff is common sense. And some of you guys need to calm down and take a breath. I think I did a video where I said you got to stop. Yeah, I did it on TikTok. I don't know if I put it on YouTube. But you can't think emotionally. And again, if any of you are subscribers, I put it on subscribe mode only. If you got a question, because usually when I do these lives, a bunch of troll little bitch ass kids get on here and get off on, trolling me from their mom's basement. And so I thought I'd try the subscriber only mode. Which I hope is in the right mode for comments. It said, yeah, I haven't put that on before. So if you're a subscriber, if you're not a subscriber and you're lost in your own family law case, you should be a subscriber. You should get alerted to my stuff. I mean, this is the dilemma of being a truth teller. We're in the midst of a corrupt family court system in America, Canada, Australia, and Europe, Western civilization. And there's a bunch of fake and phonies out there. There's people out there like Judge Anthony who are telling a lot of truths, but they're a hustler, $750 an hour. I saw that you could get I went on his page because I had an alert, if you talk about stuff like this, you get these feeds in YouTube and on Facebook. And he has a pop-up that says 6 steps to win your family court battle or win custody. And it's stuff that I already talk about, and I've never even looked at his stuff. Number 1, he talks about learning the law, and then he says something about knowing the law intimately, which is kind of the same thing. Then he talks about gathering your evidence and gathering facts and preparing for court and understanding the court structure and stuff. I can't remember all the 6 steps, but there's stuff that I've been talking about, but he leaves it up there really vague. You got to pay for his service to figure that stuff out. But then what he never talks about is the culture of the court and the war of attrition and the fight outside of court. Now, he got all these different classes on how to deal with a narcissist and all this other stuff. And I'm sure there's a whole bunch of stay silent, don't engage with them and stuff. But sometimes you got to slap a narcissist around, like I did my baby's mom, like I did her attorney. I made his life miserable for a little while. Sometimes you got to slap a narcissist around. The other thing is that what's crazy about Judge Anthony is he's a former judge, and he has a whole bunch of statements when he pops up. He's like, I went through a divorce too. And he went through a divorce because he was cheating on his wife. And then he had to step down as judge because there's a big controversy in his town about the hoe that he was screwing with. And he acts like he was a victim of divorce. And then he steps down. So either he woke up and realized, hey, this system is corrupt. I've been helping out corrupt babies' moms and some narcissist fathers. And he woke up and he got out of it, or he had to step down because he was dealing with his whole custody battle. But the thing is, on Judge Anthony's pages, if you notice, it'll say stuff like, if you're dealing with a narcissist, you're probably dealing with false allegations and lies about this, and they're gaslighting you, and they're charming to the court. So he's basically talking about narcissists will go to court and bamboozle the court and abuse the court system. Why isn't he talking about that specifically? He kind of sidesteps around it and kind of halfway admits it by talking about these different phenomenons and strategies of narcissists, but he doesn't straight out admit that the courts adopt this stuff, so the courts make corrupt rulings. Now, maybe he does that in his seminars or whatever, but if this guy actually cares like he pretends to care, why isn't he doing something about the court system? Why isn't he saying something? Why doesn't he do some seminars? There's retired judges who do seminars to tell other judges, screw the dad, screw his constitutional rights. He's a domestic violence perpetrator. F you, buddy. You're out in the street. Ha, ha, ha. There's judges who've said stuff like that at seminars, and all these family law attorneys and these radical feminists go and watch a radical feminist or a simp attorney or simp judge do a seminar, and it's almost like as if judges and attorneys are going to Klan rallies in the South. So you see these judges, and you see these judges in court pretending to be fair to a black defendant, but then during their off time, they're going to a Klan rally or a Klan meeting. Maybe the judge is a grand wizard. So these judges and lawyers that are in the court system, they'll go to a radical feminist Klan rally because it is a Klan, it's a cult. They'll go to a seminar that talks about domestic violence and restraining orders and all these other things. If you notice, and then they'll just tell each other to do everything like this, and then so when they go to court, they're doing everything in light of that seminar. And Joe Biden's Violence Against Women Act gives money to groups who put on seminars like that. So there's billions of dollars going to the radical feminist cult seminars and women's shelter groups. I had a class when I went back to school. I went back to school and got a bachelor's degree in law and justice after I won my custody battle. And after I won in the Court of Appeals once. So I went back to school and got a degree in law and justice from Central Washington University. I barely had to study because it was like a Japanese kid who grew up in America and took Japanese for high school, and they spoke Japanese for a bachelor's degree, and they spoke Japanese at home. They don't even have to study. They got a degree in Japanese. Or some kid whose dad taught him how to work on cars and pick apart a car and put it back together since he was a kid, and he takes shop class in high school and aces that. But when I went back there, I had a class where this lady from a woman's group or woman's shelter came to our class, and she had these different stages set up at this table. And we went through, we had to pretend we're a domestic violence victim, and we go through all the steps of getting help. Talk to a lawyer. Oh, that costs too much money. Go to a shelter. Oh, we're full. Go and get a restraining order. Oh, they denied you. Go to this place. Oh, they don't. What she was trying to say was how hopeless it is for domestic violence victims and all the resources aren't available to them, which is total bullcrap because women have it easy and all these resources come running to them to help them. And so, you know, that men are at a disadvantage because all the help the women get and all the extra stuff and accommodations they get, because Joe Biden's Violence Against Women Act has allocated and spent billions of dollars for women to get this lopsided victory after victory in family court. And this idiot came to our class and tried to demonstrate how horrible it is for women, or how tough it is. And then she was asking us questions, and then I said, well, you know, I have experience with domestic violence protection orders, and you're trying to say that it's hard. Those things are handed out like water. Women get them all the time. And she goes, no, it's actually hard to get them. I can't remember how I phrased the question. She said it's hard to get them, and I said, and then she did not even acknowledge me when I said that, and then turned to somebody else like I didn't even exist in the classroom. So somebody said, James, Flawless Fatherhood on YouTube sent me here. I need info for a consultation with you tonight or tomorrow. Well, underneath every YouTube video, there's a link. There's my phone number, and there's a link to my flow page, which you should check out. You should check out the section that says must see information. All you got to do is text or call me and give me a day and time that you want to talk. And if I have that spot, then we'll talk and hook up. So, let me know if there's any background noise that's annoying. I'm trying to keep my phone cool by putting the AC on it, if that's distracting to you guys. So I'm gonna have to check out Flawless Fatherhood and see what that's about. What is that about? Let me know if that's like just a support group or a parenting oriented thing. We're teaching guys how to parent, or what that is. Even though I talk about there's nobody out there doing anything about this stuff, I'm always interested in checking out stuff to see if there happens to be somebody. So the one guy looks like he knows what he's doing. I think it's Father X or Dad X on YouTube, where he's showing court documents that he uses to win in court. And I guess he got custody without a lawyer himself. So, but I think it was a long drawn out. I think he does a whole bunch of doing everything technically right and don't bash the other side or get on the offensive or something, stuff that I would do. So we may differ a little bit on that, but I haven't checked him out too much. But so it looks like there maybe is one person out there who's doing something. But again, if you really don't want to if you don't want help, or you want somebody to save you, I can't help you, because you're the one who has to save your kids. If someone is teaching a CPR class, the person who's teaching the CPR class isn't going to be there when your kids are choking at dinner somewhere, in public or at home. You can't call them up and say, hey, you did that CPR class. I need you to run to my house and help fix this. No, you learn how to do CPR so that you can do it when it's time to do it, or when there's an emergency. I'm going to move my phone back here, so I'm going to mess it up for a second, the signal up for a second here. Okay. So, I had somebody in one video say, you're so distracted with your driving, why can't you sit at home or whatever? I'm sitting there in a video giving information that a guy could use, and all he's got to do is take notes and stuff, and he doesn't like the visual of me being in a car. Even though there's countless people out there with YouTube videos, and they got 1 million followers, and they're sitting in their car. One guy I can think of that I watched him for a little bit, this guy named Jericho Green. He, I think at one point I saw he had like 50,000 followers or something. Now he's got like 500,000 or something. All he does is just do videos on his way to work in his truck. Now, I think he does more at home, and he's got a nice little logo now that he's making money off of that. And so he got some fancy logo, but got some dudes on here, oh, you're sitting in your car, or you're fat and ugly, and you're not doing it, you're not sitting at home, you're not doing any fancy videos. Well, you're the type of bitch-ass punk bitch who's lazy and shiftless and isn't going to do anything anyway, because I'm sitting here giving you free information that would cost you hundreds or thousands of dollars if an attorney gave it to you, but these attorneys aren't giving it to you. And you're going to complain about, you know, this background back here. But you'll go to a fancy lawyer's office and sit in their office and travel to downtown Toronto or downtown Detroit or downtown Dallas and spend half your day waiting for them and pay them $400 an hour to talk about nothing. I mean, even though I don't have some fancy logo or fancy introduction or pretty setting like, what's that lady's name? The Family Court Corner. Which, you know, when I first saw her page, it seemed legit, but the more I thought about it and read her story, the Family Court Corner or Family Law Corner, whatever that lady's name is, she charges $250 an hour for a consult. Oh yeah, Judge Anthony also has a consult rate. You could do, if you can't afford his $750 an hour, you could talk with him for just 30 minutes for $450. For $450, you can get 10 packets in my store that'll give you a head start, way ahead of anything Judge Anthony can tell you. Like my defense against restraining order packet that's worked for almost everybody who ever got it. Or my argument for the best interest of the child. Or my evidence rule video, which everybody should get if you don't understand the rules of evidence and don't have them memorized. $450 to talk with Judge Anthony for 30 minutes. The first 10 minutes is going to be like introductions and chit chat and BSing. So it's really $450 for 20 minutes. That's $20 a minute when you actually get going in the conversation. I mean, you guys know it. I know it. My page should be viral. I should have 1 million followers by now. I don't. You know, again, I did an interview with Pearly Things, with Pearl from Pearly Things. She got 2 million followers. Our interview, everybody in the comments said, this is great substance. This is wonderful. This is awesome. And then I had some people who got on there who said, James saved me in my divorce. James helped me, this and that. Testimonies and great comments, except for like 2 haters. One of them was an attorney who was stalking me like a gay ex-scorned lover. And the Pearly Things video got like, I don't know, 10, 12,000 views. And then she pulled the video. Either didn't get enough views or she didn't like the negativity in the comments or that whole section. That whole section was like a self-help section on her page. And none of those videos were getting more than 20,000 views because people didn't want answers to stuff. They wanted to watch her check a bunch of hoes who got on there. Because guys just want to whine, cry, piss, and moan and then see somebody clap back and talk bad about a hoe or a manipulator or a narcissistic female or about the whole phenomenon of what women are doing to men rather than fix it. We don't want to fix anything. We don't want to fix our court orders. We don't want to go to work and fight and do something. You know, with the 7 months of hell that I went through in my initial custody battle, it was hell, but it was totally worth it because I had my daughter until she's 18. I just talked to her earlier. My daughter's 23 now. I have a great relationship with my daughter. I have a whole bunch of regrets and failures as a father and screw-ups, but the one thing I could say is that I was there. And that's one thing that kids will remember. And that's one thing she's actually told her mother. When her mother and her mother's family was trying to talk bad about me, she was like, at least my dad was there. At least he fought to be in my life. And I never coached her to say anything like that. She just would say that back to their stupid slander of me because it was a fact. But I went through hell to do that. And you guys that complain, I had a dumbass, retarded, moronic, bitch-ass dude get on my page on TikTok and say, it's not as simple as you say. That's the mentality of guys who lost in court. They got a hater mentality. Instead of saying, wow, you won in court? How could I do that? Is that possible? Or how did you do that? That seems impossible. But this guy comes on, oh, it's not as simple as you make it out to be. It actually is simple as far as there's no complicated thing about going to war. You go and beat the snot out of the other side. The complication is, what are all the rules and things like that to figure out? But if you get some help, then it's even much more simple. The hard part is going to war and fighting and not seeing your kid for a while and having to fight for something that you should have a right to. The emotional taxing part of it, that's the part that's, I guess he was trying to say it's not easy, but when he said it's not that simple, I never said it was simple as far as the ease of it. It's simple as far as learn the law, learn the statistics, learn the data, learn the evidence, put it together. It is kind of simple, but it takes a long time to put a bunch of exhibits into a motion. But it's a simple point. Like, let's say you're trying to go for custody of 50-50. That's a simple point. My kids need their father. All the statistics and data shows that children struggle without a father. Okay? Most states have a statute that says we want to do what's best for kids, and that usually means, like California Family Code 3020B, frequent and continuing contact. Texas Family Code 150, I think it is, .001, frequent and continuing contact. RCW 2609002 in Washington. The existing pattern of interaction is usually the best interest of the child. What's the existing pattern if you were married? Being around the kid 100% of the time. That's pretty simple. But a paranoid, scaredy cat, butthurt, fearful dad will look at the daunting task of going to court, and before he even dives into it, before he even attempts to learn how to fight, he gets scared shitless, and then he thinks it's hard. It's kind of like somebody who's 300 pounds, like, my ideal weight is 180. That's, they'll say, that's 220 pounds. If you look at the daunting task, yeah, that's not going to happen overnight. But if you lose a pound a day, in 2/3 of a year, you can get down to your ideal weight if you're disciplined enough. So all you got to do is just worry about today, and then tomorrow do that simple thing again. With this family court stuff, you get a consult with James, you learn this stuff and study it. It's just like a class or anything else you learn in life. But we turn into bitch-ass cowards because it looks hard. And because we're traumatized, because usually you guys are in a situation your baby's mom took the kid away. Speaking of that, I talked to a guy recently. He's getting one overnight a week. And he's trying to go for 50-50. And I said, why don't you keep the kid for a week or for half of the week and give the kid back, and then prove that you can handle the child 50-50? Because if you go to court only having 1 day a week, you're telling the court, that's all I can handle, that's all I've handled. And the court often will ignore the law and ignore all the factors and stuff and say, what have you been doing? I just mentioned Washington State's RCW 2609002, which talks about the existing pattern of interaction. And again, if any of you are on here, you got a quickie question, this is your chance to ask, a question if you're a subscriber. I don't get this shit. Like, I'll do a free video. I'll have a bunch of people on there and say the system sucks, the system sucks. Okay, you're losing in court. Why don't you ask the question why you got me for free here? My gender is so stupid, they won't even take advantage of free time. But you'll go and spend $750 now on Judge Anthony. Or you'll go pay a $5,000, $10,000 retainer and borrow money from family to go talk to an attorney who's going to screw you over. I forgot what I was even talking about. Oh, so the guy who's getting one visit a week, he gets one overnight a week because the child's just a baby. The mom says, "Oh, well, the child's too small for you to handle 2 days or more." That's an emotional basket case psychotic bitch of a woman saying you can't have the child because I said so because it's just a baby. Where does she get that from? And he even confronted her and asked her about that, and she didn't have an answer. So I tell him, why didn't you keep the child longer? Oh, what happened to my... Okay. Thought something disappeared. So I said, why didn't you keep the child longer? Oh, I'm going to make the mother mad. Oh, I don't want any problems. Oh, I'm in a position in my job where if it comes back, they don't want me to have any drama or problems that could affect my job. Oh, I don't want the police called. So all these things. Now listen to this. A guy won't keep his kids just like the mother is doing because he doesn't want any problems or drama or conflict with the mother. If he goes to court with having the kid 1 week on, 1 week off because he's forcing it to happen, or he took the kid 3 days in a row, and the guy is off a couple days during the week, so he can have the kid for 4 days in a row. If he goes into court with 4 days in a row, overnights under his belt, he could tell the court, I had the child 4 days in a row. Here's pictures of me changing diapers or pull-ups and feeding the child, and us having a great time. She called the cops to harass me and falsely accuse me of something because I did the same thing she did, acted like a parent of the child. If he goes to court showing that he had the child overnight for a few days in a row, then he has proof that it works. If he goes to court with only one overnight a week, he only has proof that he can handle the child one night. And he says, oh, I don't want to keep the child because I don't want any conflict. I don't want the cops called. I don't want to hurt the mother's feelings. I'm worried about my job. So if that gets back to his job or the cops get called or anything, that's the mother falsely accusing him of something. So he's sitting there saying, I don't want to exercise a right of mine. I don't want to exercise and do what the mother's doing and act like the father of my own kid because she might falsely accuse me of something. And I don't want that drama. That's a bitch-ass bullshit excuse to not grow some balls and be a man. Because you're worried she might lie. So I'm willing to go to court without any evidence that I can keep the child for 2 or 3 or 4 days in a row. Because I don't have the balls to act like the father of my own child. Because I'm here to please and appease the mother and her psychotic feelings. That's like saying somebody stole my car and I got a spare key and I know it's in their driveway down the street. Oh, I don't want to take the car back because I don't want any problems with the bad guy. The one who's committing a crime or the one who's violating me and my rights. That's insane. We have this backwards, punk-ass bitch mentality that we need to appease the mother. Where in the law does it say make the mother happy? Or does it say frequent and continuing contact between the parents is what's ideal for the kids? Why can't you, if you're in California, the law says we want frequent and continuing contact and you're following the policy of the law, what is your bitch ass afraid of? Nothing but your own paranoid boogeyman under the bed, punk ass bitch fear. The vast majority of problems with the family court are self-inflicted because we're a bunch of bitch ass fruity gay boy cowards who won't grow some balls and stand up for our kids. When this guy or any other guy says, well, I can't keep my kid, why not? Are they your kid? Yeah. Do you have equal rights to the mother? I mean, is there a court order preventing you? No. Is the mother keeping the kid for 2 weeks in a row? Yeah. Why don't you call the cops on her? Why don't you tattle to somebody about her? Call CPS. Oh, I already tried to call them. They can't do anything. Then what the frick are you afraid of, dumbass? You just told me. You just said they can't do anything to her. So what are you afraid of? Oh, I'm just afraid, I heard and this and that. And my brother's cousin's sister's mom's uncle's hairdresser or barber said one time. Okay, that person that you're relying on. I talked to people so many times. Well, I heard. Do you live your entire life based on what you heard? Well, I heard that guys like me can't get a job in this industry. Okay, then be a bitch-ass punk and just stay at your low-wage job. Well, I heard that, think about everybody who's successful in life with anything. They heard all kinds of stuff. An Elon Musk or Bill Gates or, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield. They all got stories of people saying, you'll never get out of the hood. You'll never get out of this. You'll never be successful. You'll never do this. You don't have a college degree. Bitch, if you're going to live your life based on what you heard, then go crawl under a rock. And then you won't have to hear anything and don't interact with another human being. If it hurts your bitch ass thong wearing feeling so bad to hear somebody say, oh, you can't do that, then go hide from life and hide from society. I just saw a bunch of people dropped out. I don't have a lot of people watching right now, but a bunch of people left when I said that. See, people don't like hearing that stuff. People don't like hearing the fact that you are your own worst enemy. It's time to man up and grow some balls. A third of the people watching this dropped off when I said stop being a bitch. And what are you being a bitch about? I'm saying act like you're the father of your own kid, and if the mother withheld the children from you, then you keep the kids. She lets you have the kids, you keep the kid as long as you want. And why don't you do that? Because we're a bunch of bitch-ass brainwashed cowards who think that the mothers own the children and that we have to obey her like a little hen-pecked, nana-whipped, slave-minded little bitches. When you whoever you obey is your master. If you follow your constitutional rights and your free rights to do whatever you want, that's your master. The law, the Constitution, your rights, your options, all that stuff. You follow that, then that could be your lead or your master or your whatever. If you're obeying the mother, then she's your master and you're a slave. I got so many dads who, when they decided to grow some balls and keep their kid, the mother called the cops. The cops came to their house and they said the child's doing fine, bye. And it was over. And you're scared of that? Anybody can fall asleep. You can walk down the street and you scare somebody. Sometimes I scare people. I'm a relatively big guy, bald-headed. If I don't have a smile on my face, somebody might be scared or think I'm a knucklehead or whatever. They might have a perception of me that, they wouldn't like me or whatever, or if you heard an alarm going off at a store in the mall and I'm standing by the store, they might question me because I look like somebody who might have robbed it or something, or whatever. I'm not going to move and go hide like, oh my God, they might think I did it, let me hide. I didn't do it. I'm not worried about anything. I got plenty of videos on YouTube talking about how to deal with this, how to deal with the cops or CPS if they come to your door. I had a guy who talked the other day. He said, well, I called CPS and they're not doing anything. It had been 2 months and his kid is getting abused. What the F are you doing, dude? What are you waiting on? If your kid was staying the night, let's say you and your baby's mom are married, and your kid's staying the night at somebody's house, and your kid called and said, Daddy, my friend or one of the friends staying the night at the slumber party hit me and made me bleed, or the dad and the mom at the house are arguing and fighting and throwing stuff. You wouldn't sit there, let me call CPS and let me wait 2 months to rescue my kid. You would go over to the house and bang on the door and get your kid back. Why can't you have that same mentality when it comes to the mother who's abusing your kid or putting your kid in a toxic situation? Because we like our kid getting abused or manipulated when it's the mother doing it. Because we're a bunch of bitch-ass pussy cowards because it's the mom doing it. And so she gets a free pass or we don't give a shit. It's insane. It's also insane. Like, people have commented like, how come you don't have 1 million subscribers or followers? That's because my gender's a bunch of bitch ass cowards, and only 1 out of 100 guys will actually fight on their case. 10 out of 100 guys will call me, make a comment, reach out to me, say they need help, and never follow through. They'll schedule a consultation and then be a no-show. This is why I know my gender is full of bitch-ass cowards and lazy bums. I had a guy a couple weeks ago, he scheduled a consult, and then I told him, I need you to reserve a consult with payment because I've had so many no-shows. And he goes, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. So he dictated to me when he was going to pay. I don't remember exact situation if he told me anything. But then I had another appointment before that, so I'm like, okay, well, I got to be up anyway. I'll let him do it in his time. So, I let stuff slide, and I always pay for it. Because the next morning when I got up on 3 hours of sleep, the first guy was a no-show. And I hadn't made a note whether he paid or not, so I assumed that he did. He was a no-show little bitch because, and I say bitch not because I didn't get the business, it's that you wanted to talk first thing in the morning because it was urgent, and then you change your mind. Like you had an emotional, for a minute, your emotions got stirred. Yeah, I want to fight for my kid. Then you turn into a bitch suddenly. But the next guy, I texted him. The other guy couldn't get through to him at all. I texted the other guy and I said, hey, are we still on for 9 o'clock? I had you down for 9 o'clock. I always give people the benefit of the doubt. They could have gotten in a car accident or whatever. I don't just jump to conclusions. I take the same approach I would in court. This dad said, oh, I forgot. Let me get back to you. I'm going to study your stuff and then get ready. And then he hit me up again and said, I'm looking at your stuff and I'm going to study and prep for our next consult. I said, no, we're not doing a consult. You didn't care the first time around. You were a no-show. You don't really care about your kid. He goes, I want your help. I'm serious, dude. I didn't show up the other day because I want to look at your stuff. No, you said you forgot. So that's what this tells me. Hey, look, I have an appointment with James. I'm going to learn how to fight for my kid and rescue my life with my kid. Oh, I forgot about that thing. That means it wasn't jack shit to you. If you have cancer and you have an appointment with a doctor to evaluate what type of surgery would work to remove the cancer, would you say, I forgot about my appointment to save my life from cancer, you dumbass, hypocrite, lying bitch? No. That's what my gender does all the time. Oh, I forgot. Or I got something else going on. Hey, can you call me back later? I'm at work. Why the F would you schedule an appointment while you're at work? You think you can talk to me while driving around on a forklift and taking notes? Some of my gender is a bunch of stupid ass, dumb, moronic, low IQ bitches too. Like, dude, this is important. Why would you schedule an appointment when you got your kid or kids and there's 3 kids screaming in the background and you're yelling at them every other minute when we're talking? Or at the end of the consult with me like, man, this is great information. Can you email me notes from everything you said? No, mother effer. You should have been taking notes all along. Some of this stuff is common sense, and my gender doesn't give a shit about common sense, and they don't give a shit about their kids because they think they should. If they don't have a free handout like mommy gave you when you were raised without a father, you think that somebody should serve you up your kids like mommy used to serve you breakfast in bed on Saturdays after school or whatever. We're such bitch-ass lazy cowards and simps, and we don't take this stuff seriously. While the mother is plotting and scheming, you're at war with somebody and they're sending spies to our country and they're setting up an ambush and you're sitting there goofing around and playing tiddlywinks and whatever. Anytime you see a movie where there's a war movie or there's an good versus evil movie, and a lot of times the good guy or Batman or Superman, somebody will catch somebody slipping, like the kids say, catch them lacking nowadays, or catch them off guard, it's because they were sitting on their laurels and didn't think they needed to be on the offensive and have their guard up. You need to have, as soon as somebody is trying to take your kids, you need to have a mentality, it's time to go to war. I have so many guys I talk to, they said, I tried to talk to the mother for weeks about working this stuff out. She keeps withholding the kid. And I'm waiting for her. I offered her a deal. I'm waiting to hear back. Bitch, you stupid, dumbass piece of shit. You say, look, do you want to agree to 50-50? No? Okay, you're a child abuser. There's no negotiating with terrorists after this. Go to war over your kid. What the hell are you waiting on? Well, I told her, and then she was in a bad mood, so I told her again, like, I'm willing to work this stuff out. You stupid, dumbass moron. She took your kids from you. She's a child abuser. If a kidnapper has your kids and they say, I want $1 million ransom or whatever, they're not giving back your kids until they get what they want. You have to go in and sneak in and send a SWAT team in to shoot him from behind when he's not looking. We're such passive, docile, pacifist bitches in the middle of a war over our kids. My baby's mom, I was working with her. The first day I find out that she's going to war with me, I'm served a restraining order. I'm on the offensive until she surrenders. Then she gets an attorney, and her attorney says, hey, we need to have a working relationship. You can't be coming to court and bashing me and my client like that. I went easy on you in there because I didn't want to make you look bad because I want you to work this out. I said, okay, you got one chance to earn my trust. He totally lied about me the next time we went to court. F him. That's it. You guys are such merciful, tender-hearted, little wonderful, forgiving, punk-ass bitches who get easily played that your kids are suffering. You will let your kids suffer and get abused by the mother and the mother's new child molesting boyfriend or boyfriend that beats the mother in front of your kids or verbally abuses your kids. You will sit there and wait 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 until the evil, demonic, child abusing mother works stuff out. Why? Because you're a pussy who doesn't want to work for it. You're a pussy who wants it to go away. You need to stop being like that. I was a pussy in some areas of my life in the way that I let women disrespect me and stuff. But for the most part, that would roll off because if it wasn't a girlfriend or somebody I had a baby with, I'd care less. That's their loss, if they're disrespectful or whatever. And I tolerate a lot of stuff. But the day that my baby's mom took my daughter away, the war was on, bitches. Damn, why do I have to incentivize you to fight for your kid? Well, the mother's not being reasonable. I don't know why. She's not using any logic. You're a man. You use logic. She's a woman. She's emotional. That's it. It's not changing, you dumbass. What are you waiting for? Go rescue your kids. Crying the frick out loud. If any of you saw the movie Braveheart with Mel Gibson, Mel he's playing William Wallace. Is it William Wallace? Yeah. Ireland is fighting Great Britain for their freedom. Or Scotland, I'm sorry. Is it Scotland? I think it's Scotland. Anyway, there's Britain oppression like there's been for hundreds of years, thousands of years. British Empire is still alive and well behind the scenes, pimping our country, pimping our politicians. But William Wallace was out there saying, he was telling the people, like, the politicians for Scotland were saying, let's not go to war and fight. All they want is some lands. Let them have control of us, they're going to give us lands and this and that without a fight. Yeah, but you're not free, bitch. You watch the movie, he's like, for crying out loud, why don't you guys fight? Yeah, we'll suffer some casualties, but we'll be free. Scotland will be our own country and we get to do what we want. If you actually got some balls and stopped being a bitch and actually fought for your kid, half of you, your case would be over soon because the mother usually quits when a dad gets on the offensive and fights. There's scenes where William Wallace in Braveheart, he's like, oh my God, if you guys would just, for crying out loud, will you just stand up and grow some balls? We could win this. You know, I'm winning this. My little clique of guys are winning these battles here and there. If we band together and get everybody out there, we can win. Same thing I talk about with the family court system. All you guys are out there whining, crying, pissing and moaning and bitching about the system, but none of you ever file a bar complaint, a judicial conduct complaint. None of you ever do a video talking about how you got screwed in your case and put your case number out there so the rest of the world can see. Everything stays a secret. I post videos showing my baby's mom and her minions and all the people who wrote declarations against me because I'm going to destroy their legacy. I did that with attorneys. I filed bar complaints. I sued a guardian ad litem in small claims court. I sued a couple, this guy I used to room with and his girlfriend who I dated. He's mad because I still liked her when they were messing around. I didn't know they were messing around. She was playing both of us. So he hated me. So he came to court writing a declaration I shouldn't see my kid. I'm exposing that little bitch because that's a man trying to help fight against a man not seeing his kid. So every few months I'll post about this guy named Chemo Evans in Tacoma, Washington, and his wife, Mary Beth Solscheid Evans. They came to court fighting and helping my baby's mom trying to destroy my relationship with my daughter. What bitch ass man with at least one testicle will testify that a man shouldn't see his kids? Only a feminized, fruity, tranny gay boy who's mad at me because he's butthurt because I dated his girlfriend who's now his wife. And you know, he could have her. Neither one of them can count how many people they slept with. They can have their own venereal diseases. I don't care. I'm glad I slipped, you know, I dodged that bullet. But the people will just grow some balls. There's so many cases where a dad didn't do jack squat, and as soon as he stood up and started fighting, the mother started cowering, or he started winning in court. And you guys are afraid to do the one thing that's going to help you win your kids back, and you're whining and crying and curling in a ball. Think of a happy place. I can't believe the pain I'm going through. Get up and go. You're already going through hell right now. Why not go through a little bit more hell by fighting and give yourself a chance to get your kids back? The only thing stopping you is a bitch-ass cowardly fear that all these other dads and think about all the loser punk-ass bitches who are telling you don't fight, don't piss the mother off, don't do that in court. What have they won before? How did it work for them? They all lost in court, and you're listening to advice from a bunch of losers. My gender doesn't have any damn common sense. They don't have any balls, and they don't have the energy or wherewithal. They're lazy, they're scared, and then they're stupid sometimes. And all those things have to do with choices. You can choose to learn how to do this stuff. You can choose, I'm scared, but I'm going to go anyway because my life with my kid is at stake. You could choose, instead of sitting around drinking some beer and lounging in your recliner, like, let me do something on my case to get proactive on it. At least try one of the things James is talking about. I got people calling me saying, should I get a consult with you before I go to war for my kids and I fight for a temporary order? If you have to ask a stupid ass question like that, I had a guy ask that question a while ago. I have a bunch of people who ask a question like that. Or people will watch my videos and then call me after they get screwed. I had one guy who wanted his initial consult with me to be 30 minutes, and it's a 90-minute minimum. Because it's a flat rate for 90 minutes because everybody needs an hour and a half to even get started on this stuff. And he thought all he needed was 30 minutes. And he had 5 hours worth of questions for me. And then he said, okay, I'll need some follow-up. And then he goes to court and he's texting me while he's in court. Well, first of all, then he texted me like 9 p.m. the night before court saying he needs to talk to me. Too late. You didn't give a shit for the past several days to get ready for your hearing. Then he texted me a question while he's at court, and it's a half-assed question that doesn't give me all the information I need. And so I gave him the best answer, given the information. It ended up being the wrong answer because he was too lazy to give me information. And he's like, I'm so scared. Should I get a consult with you before next time I go to court? I mean, that's a guy that's running around being all, frazzled and doing everything off of emotion and not sitting down and taking a breath and learning something. So you don't learn anything from me. You're totally lost. And then since you're totally lost, you don't know what to do. And you're like, I don't know what to do. And you're in this paralyzing fear because you're frantic because you're like, what do I do? Because I'm not getting ready for anything. I know that's like somebody who's going out. I don't know, out to sea and you know, like the deadliest catch, and you want to be a crab fisherman, or I don't know, you want to be a scuba diver. You just jump in the water and you don't get any training or practice. What the hell? Come on, man. Use some damn common sense. Anyway, let me go with that. I got a call on an appointment right here. So those of you guys who are fighting, keep up the good fight. If you want some real help, get a consult with me or keep watching my videos. And go to my flow page and look at the section that says must see information. That's free information. You don't even got to talk to me to do that. There's so many guys that get a consult with me. I tell them to check out my free information. That by the time they have a consult, they don't. So we got to spend time in the consult to look at the stuff that they could have used common sense to save money on. You guys don't even want to save money yourself. You don't even want to take advantage of the appointment with me and do the stuff I tell you before the appointment to get ready for the appointment. And then you wait till the appointment. We got to spend 30 minutes in the appointment when you could have taken that 30 minutes before and got a full hour and a half of stuff we need to know. Like, use some damn common sense and actually care about yourself enough to care about your kids to do everything you can to fight.